just walked through the door. Powers Point Podcast, bring the roar. Grab your coffee, grab your chair. Scott's got stories everywhere. Got a joke? We got laughs. Got a thought? Do the math. From P3 Studios, what do we bring? A little bit of everything. Buckle up, hold on tight. Powers Point Podcast is taking flight. Welcome to the Powers Point Podcast.
Well, hello, and welcome back to the Powers Point Podcast. I'm your host, Scott Powers. And if you've never heard this show before, well, let me tell you what I'm all about here in P3 Studios. Around here, I talk about anything and everything with the exception of two things. I don't talk religion, and I don't do politics. Now, if you're sitting there saying, well, damn, I was really hoping to hear Scott's take on those. Let me tell you, there are probably a few thousand podcast hosts named Scott out there who specialize in those subjects, and many of them do a fine job, if you're into that sort of thing. I just feel like you've already had enough of those conversations shoved into your head all week by people on social media who are all self-proclaimed experts. You know the ones. They know exactly what's going on because they heard it from their friend's sister's Uncle Larry down at the trailer park. We all know Uncle Larry and his conspiracies. The aliens are coming, or the aliens landed in the back of my trailer and they told me this. You know what? You can't always believe Uncle Larry. And if you're Uncle Larry, come on, guy. What I do here is a little different. I just want to give you a place to relax for a little while, maybe make you smile, maybe get a laugh or two, but no more than 3, because I'm a firm believer that's probably pushing it. And besides, this show isn't insured, so if you laugh too hard and pull something, I'm going to have a whole mess of paperwork to deal with. But seriously, it's been a long time since you and I sat down together and caught up. A lot has happened, a lot has changed, and I'm really glad you're here. Because out of all the things you could be doing right now, and all the places you could be, somehow we ended up right here together. And that's really cool. This is just a place to hit pause for a little while, catch up on life, share a few laughs, and hopefully leave feeling a little better than when you arrived. So grab a cup of coffee, finish that drive, settle into your favorite chair, or wherever you're listening from. Let's get this new era of the Powers Point Podcast started. But before we get too far into things, let's do what we've always done around here and take a little time for some music. This next song comes from the Backseat Saints, and this one's called Raise Another Round. So sit back, enjoy the music, and when we come back, we'll keep catching up, introduce some new features, and talk about some of the little things that can make a big difference. We'll be right back after this. Stay tuned and come on back.
Got left on mute. Tailgate down by the county line. Cheap beer cold and we're feeling fine. Bonfire sparks like a July parade. Old jukebox songs and a little shake. Someone's dancing on a folding chair. Nobody's asking, nobody cares. Leave your worries in the parking lot. Life's too short to waste one shot. Raise another round, turn the radio loud. Sing like we're the only souls in this crowd. Boots in the dirt, hands in the sky. Laughing so hard that the stars get shot. If tomorrow comes looking, tell it we're gone. Tonight's got our name written all night long. Raise another round, let the whole town know. Backseat Saints came ready for the show. Somebody fight truck bed, dance floor, headlights bright, making little memories all night. Neighbors said we never slow it down. Guess they're probably right by now. Every stranger's just a friend in line, looking for another good time. Here's to the dreamers and the blue-collar crew, the ones who show up when you're coming unglued. Here's to the stories we'll probably forget, but we'll wake up smiling without one regret. Raise another round, let the voices fly, echo through the fields underneath the sky. Every heart beating the very same song. This is exactly where we belong. When the sun comes up, we'll tip our hats and grin, knowing we do the whole damn thing again. Raise another round, everybody shout. This is what Backseat Saints are all about.
Welcome back to the Powers Point Podcast. You know, before we jump into some of the new things we have planned for the show, I think it's only fair that we sit down, catch up a little bit. Because if you've been following along, you know this year has been a lot. Over the past several months, I've lost both of my parents, and at the same time, the Powers Point After Dark radio show came to an end. Those are two pretty big things to have happen. And when they hit all at once, I'll be honest with you, it was a lot to process. And when things finally started to settle down, I found myself looking at this microphone again and wondering, okay, Scott, what do you say? Where do you start? Is anyone still listening? And does anyone even miss the show? Those thoughts were definitely there. And then I realized something. This is where I'm supposed to be. Right here, sitting down with you, having a conversation. Other than that short 20-minute update episode I did back in May, this is the first real Powers Point podcast episode I've recorded this year. And saying that out loud, it's kind of crazy. But I'm excited to be back. And while I was away, the Powers Point Network kept moving. My friend Keith Mackey has been keeping the music conversation alive with Mackey's Record Shop, releasing new episodes every Tuesday like clockwork. If you haven't checked it out yet, I highly recommend it. Keith dives into what's happening in the music industry, shares stories, and brings some incredible music along with them. It's educational, it's entertaining, and that high-grade pharmaceutical audio that he talks about, he delivers, will take your ears somewhere else entirely. Great job, by the way, Keith. Man, we always appreciate those. Then on Thursdays, our friends from Michigan, the Misfits, Dave and Dakota T-Belt, bring you third floor assessments. This father-son duel take the typical podcast formula, picks it up, shakes it around, and sends it out the window. It's definitely not your everyday cookie-cutter show, and that's exactly what makes it fun, so give it a listen. And then Saturdays, well, that's when you grab your VIP pass at the front desk and head into the Static Temptations Club. No talking, no interviews, just music. And I'm talking about trance, EDM, and progressive, industrial. It'll have you fist pump in the air. You might squeeze into those booty shorts. And I really hope, Dave, if you're listening, you don't pull the booty shorts out. It's just a place to hit play, let the songs take over, and let your mind wander for a while. Those are just a few of the shows that make up the Powers Point Network, and they are absolutely worth checking out. But today, I'm happy to say I'm back where I belong, right here with you, and I think it's time to catch up. You know, one thing I've learned over the years is that sometimes it's not the huge moments that make a week memorable. Sometimes it's the little things. Those random, unexpected moments that show up out of nowhere and put a smile on your face. And that's where our first new segment comes in here on the Powers Point Podcast. I like to call it Little Thing, Big Joy. The idea is pretty simple. It's about those small victories and little surprises that can completely change your day. Maybe it's reaching into an old jacket you haven't worn in months and finding a $5 bill sitting there. Maybe it's leaving the house running late and somehow hitting every single green light on the way to where you're going. Maybe it's getting a phone call or a message from someone you haven't talked to in a while, and it's almost like they knew exactly when you needed to hear from them. Maybe it's something as simple as your favorite song coming on at the perfect moment, or getting a parking spot right up front when the weather's terrible, or somebody holding the door open and reminding you that kindness still exists. Those are the moments we usually don't think about twice, but maybe we should. Because sometimes a little thing can bring a pretty big joy, and I want to hear yours. If you've got a little thing, big joy moment from your week, send it over to me at powerspointpodcast@yahoo.com. Maybe your story will end up right here on the show, and maybe it'll give someone else a reason to smile too. So let's start looking for those little moments, because they're probably happening more often than we realize. You know, one thing that used to be something small, but it brought a big joy was like when you visited relatives you haven't seen in a long time, like my Uncle Jim and Aunt Pat. They would always stand at the door when you're leaving, like outside the door, and help you pack up. And as you're leaving, pulling away and looking in the back window, they're waving, smiling. And it's not smiling because you're finally leaving and they can restock the refrigerator and everything, but it's just something small, a gesture that it just made you feel good, and they stayed there until you were gone from their sight, waving. Or another thing, I helped an elderly woman. She had like salt for like the water softener, and she had like 6 or 7 bags, and like those things are heavy, like 50 to 80 pounds a bag. I asked if she needed help, and I'm sure that made her day somehow, because she didn't have to struggle. And that's really cool when you do things or find things that you didn't know was going to happen. Does that make sense? I hope it does, because I know what's in my head and trying to relay this because I really want this segment to work out. And again, I want to hear what brings you a big joy that's small. Seeing your friends on TV, watching a TV show, and seeing the people that you gave rides to, or, you talk to all the time. And yeah, I'm talking about the Pink is In cast. Go back last year and listen to a lot of the episodes. The cast have been on the Powers Point podcast, and I can never ever say enough how cool they all are. Little, but bring a big joy. So, again, I want to hear what brings you a big joy. powerspointpodcast@yahoo.com. We'll be back right after this.
Looking for a way to make your gear, your ride, or your space stand out? Then it's time to stick with the best. Whether you need vinyl decals for your car, laptop, water bottle, business, or just want to show off something that screams you, check out Sticking Together by JK. Custom designs, creative ideas, and vinyl decals made to bring your vision to life. From simple and clean to bold and eye-catching, they've got the sticky stuff that sticks with you. So stop searching for boring and start sticking with something awesome. Head over to Sticking Together by JK on Etsy today and find your next favorite vinyl decal. Sticking Together by JK, because the right vinyl decal can say a whole lot without saying a word.
Welcome back to the Powers Point Podcast. All right, let's jump into another new feature here on the show. And first of all, I gotta say, if you're hearing all these clicks or me drinking water or my chair squeaking, I apologize. I am trying a new audio recording system here. That was another thing that was taken away from me this year was the program that I was using for 5 years to record on. So it's all new and it's a learning. So I apologize for any of these extra noises, but anyway, let's just jump into another new feature here on the show that I've been working on. I'd like to call it 3-word description for your week. You know, sometimes the easiest way to explain how your week went doesn't require a long story. Sometimes all it takes is just 3 words. Because 3 simple words can tell you a lot. They could tell you if your week was busy, stressful, funny, frustrating, rewarding, exhausting, or maybe just a little bit of everything all just thrown together. And that's what this segment is all about. I want you to take your week, boil it down to just 3 words. That's it. No long explanation required unless you want to add one. But just 3 words that describe what your week looked like, how it felt, or what stood out to you. Maybe your 3 words are long, loud, productive. Or they're tired, thankful, grateful, or maybe they're coffee, chaos, surviving. Whatever your 3 words are, I want to hear them. Send them over to me again at powerspointpodcast@yahoo.com, and maybe your 3-word description will make it wait. Now I'm just coming up with my own words. Will make its way onto a future episode. Because sometimes 3 words can tell a story all by themselves. So think about your week. What are the 3 words? And you know, when I was trying to come up with segments, I threw the line out there and told some people what I was doing. And, you know, I wanted to hear their 3 words. And our friend Dave, who you've heard on the podcast, on the Christmas Roundtable, and a couple other episodes, I asked him what his 3-word week is. And he said that was a tough question, and he needed a few minutes to come up with them. But these are his 3 words. And Dave, his words were stress, worry, and faith. Those are 3 powerful words. Again, stress, worry, faith. I hope your week's gone good, Dave. I hope things are picked up and, you know, and less stress, less worry, but have the faith, and that'll wipe out the other 2. Now, I thought about it sitting here. What would my 3-word week be? And thinking about doing the podcast again, 3 words popped up to me. Anxious, excited, and ready. Anxious because I couldn't wait to start. Excited because the time was coming closer. And ready? You're damn right I was ready once the mic went hot. And that, here we are. So, again, I want to hear what your 3-word week would be. PowersPointPodcast@yahoo.com. And I'm saying this email address over and over and over because I wanted to imprint on your brain that I want to hear from you. I mean, we've been here for a long time. Some of you have been here since day one. Some of you, you're just tuning in today, and I hope you're still here listening to this and thinking, all right, this show's not bad. So, again, I would love to hear from you. Without you, there's no me. Let's just be honest. I would not be sitting here talking because all I see is a computer screen, a microphone, a mixer. I'd love to hear from you. So, let's hear your 3-word week. And let's hear your small thing, little joy. You know, one thing I've noticed lately is that if you turn on the television, scroll through social media, or check the headlines, it can sometimes feel like we're constantly being reminded of everything that's going wrong. And yeah, there are plenty of things happening in the world that deserve attention. But sometimes we need a reminder that there's still a lot of good happening too. So instead of ending our time together with more negativity, I thought we'd start a new tradition here on the Powers Point Podcast. Every week I want to bring you a story that reminds us that there are still people out there doing good things, helping others, and proving that kindness hasn't disappeared. Welcome to the good stuff. You know, one afternoon in the St. John Branch Library here in town, and this is a true story. A golden retriever named Jasper accidentally wandered through the open doors. Instead of causing chaos, he tried it right up to the librarian's desk, dropped the soggy, well-loved paperback onto the counter, and sat patiently waiting for someone to read it to him. The librarian, completely charmed, opened the book and began reading out loud. Jasper rested his chin on the counter, his tail thumping the floor in a steady, happy rhythm. And before long, a few kids who were doing their homework gathered around to listen, followed by a couple of adults, and by the end of the first chapter, the whole reading area was packed. For the rest of the afternoon, the library transformed into an impromptu doggy story time. Jasper became the unofficial library mascot, and the incident started a fantastic new tradition. Now, every Saturday morning, the Paws and Pages program allows local kids to practice their reading skills to the audience of a very eager tail-wagging listeners. It just goes to show that the simplest joys in a good book can bring a whole community together in the most unexpected ways. And that, friends, is a reminder for the week. The world is far from perfect, but there's still amazing people or animals doing amazing things every single day. Sometimes you just have to look for them. And if you know of something that would fit into this category, guess what, guys? Friends, you could send them to me. Send me the article at powerspointpodcast@yahoo.com, and I would love to tell your story right here with something that you've heard of or something you witnessed, because that would be really cool. Now, before we wrap things up today, I know this episode probably felt a little different. There were some new segments, some new ideas, and some new ways I want us to interact here on the show. And I appreciate you coming along for this ride as we start the new chapter. But trust me, this is just the beginning. I got some new things coming up, some familiar faces returning, and some brand new guests that will be joining us here on the Powers Point Podcast. The goal is still the same as it has always been: to sit down, have a conversation, share some laughs, tell some stories, and hopefully give you a little break from everything else that's going on around you. So thank you for spending some time with me today. or this evening, or in the nighttime. Thank you for giving this new version of a show a chance. And remember, if you've got a little thing, big joy moment, or your 3-word description for your week, or just an idea for the show, I want to hear from you. Send it on over to powerspointpodcast@yahoo.com. Until next time, I'm Scott Powers, signing off. You've been listening to the Powers Point Podcast. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and I'll talk to you next week.
Powers Point marches out!
Bye.
All right, everybody, show's complete. Powers Point's done, back on your feet. We laughed a little, shared a story, left with a smile and feeling glory. The coffee's cold, the time has flown, but next week we'll all be back at home. 3-word summary, good stuff too. Little big joys coming back to you. From P3 Studios, we take our leave. Until next time, you better believe. Hey, 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 Powers Point marching out. Good times in no room for doubt. Wave goodbye, but don't stay gone. We'll be right back before too long. Hey, 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 the show's complete. Thanks for walking down this street. Turn that volume up next time around. Powers Point Podcast, best little sound. Who are we? Powers Point, where we meet every week. Pack it up, we're heading home. Until next time, you're not alone. Scott Powers signing off. See you next time. March on.